Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It is the Kevin Jackson Show. Donald Trump has released his 2020 campaign slogan. Have you heard it? 2020 campaign slogan. Keep America Great. COG. So we went from Make America Great Again, which in 2020, by 2020, he will have accomplished it. In one term, Donald Trump could have said, if I haven't made America great in one term, I don't deserve another shot at the presidency. But he's done it. The new slogan, Keep America Great. I can see the hats now. The Make America Great Again hats are going to be in the archives, and then we're going to have the Keep America Great hats. And I don't know what, if I were going to be running in 2024, I would be looking for my slogan. Yeah, it would be something along the lines of continuing America's greatness. CAG. Oh, man. Glad you guys are here. KJRadio.com. You can also find us. You can give us a call at 844-551-8255. Twitter censored Drudge releasing that new slogan of Donald Trump. They censored it. They said it would be too sensitive of information for people, and they put a warning on that tweet. I just want you to understand what you're dealing with. I want you to understand why I keep asking you guys to go over to teapartycommunity.org. Interesting things are about to happen there. I promise you're going to be so proud of me and what I've done over there in that team. It's going to blow your minds. Keep America Great Again. Keep America Great, rather, censored Donald Trump's 2020 slogan. This man is genius. He's already got his 2020 slogan. He's already got the campaign running. They're already getting it funded. And when it comes time for the election, all the Democrats who are going to be running against him, Donald Trump gets equal time. And it's blowing people's minds what he's been able to do. They still haven't figured out who's going to run. But I'll tell you who's not running. Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren has finally said, you know what, I'm not going to run in 2020 because Donald Trump has called me Pocahontas, and it is unfair that he's a racist and he gets to say that. And they're going, well, hey, take that test, girl. Take that test, girlfriend. Take that test. Let people know that you are whatever percentage of engine that you say you are. See, I've noticed something about Donald Trump. He takes people down with the truth. Think about what Donald Trump does. Let me tell you something. No mystery, no mystical, magical anything here. No guru, no nothing. Just good old, plain old common sense. And saying to himself, I'll fight you. You know what happens when people, does anybody want to fight? Yeah, I'll fight you. Oh, well, I was just like kind of blustering. Well, too bad. I'm ready to fight. He takes down people with the truth. Donald Trump did something very unusual, which is what got people's attention during the campaign. He said, we need to close our borders because we've got drug dealers. We've got gangbangers. We've got people that do sex trafficking, etc. You're calling Mexicans bad people, man. He says, I didn't say that about all the Mexicans. I just told you there's a group of people. And people thought that was going to be the end of him. The left thought that we'll get the media to beat him up, and that's going to be his undoing. And you know what you did, America? You said he's exactly right. Donald Trump says the things that most people, including leftists, are thinking. And they wonder, why is he winning? Why is it that we're losing so many Democrats? They're losing Democrats, not gaining. And they can't figure it out. So Elizabeth Warren's one of these people that's supposed to run against him. She has been ordained to be the next big thing in the Democrat Party, the same way Anthony Weiner was. But Donald Trump didn't need to destroy Weiner. He did that all on his own. But Elizabeth Warren, he didn't set out to destroy her. You know what he did? He did something really innovative. He just told people who she was. He says she's a fake Indian. She's Pocahontas. She's not even real. She's a figment of a liberal imagination. And she's taking advantage of the system by milking being an Indian. And that was it. He told the truth about her. Charlie Kirk tweeted, Elizabeth Warren won't take a genealogy test. Maxine Waters won't take an IQ test. What did Donald Trump say of Maxine Waters? He says she's an idiot. She's a moron. Well, I've been saying that for a long time. Not to try to take any thunder away from President Trump, but I've been telling you, members of the Congressional Black Caucus are nothing but circus clowns. So Trump's a little late on that one, but that's okay. He can have all the credit. Doesn't matter to me who makes it more known that Maxine Waters is a clown, that most of these members of the Congressional Black Caucus are nothing but circus clowns. I don't care. You take the credit. But it's a fact. Elizabeth Warren won't take a genealogy test because it will verify what we already know. She's been lying about being an Indian, and she's taken advantage of it because that's what the left does. Her life has been dramatically improved by pretending to be something that she's not. Oh, by the way, that's what the left does. That's what they excel at. They can't tell you, like, I'm in radio. I don't have a radio career. I'm writing. I'm a writer. I'm not a journalist. I didn't get a journalism career. I don't have any. There's nothing about me to go, well, my credentials for journalism come from the blankety-blank School of Journalism. And my ability to come on the radio is from me training at the blankety-blank Radio Institute. No, I didn't know any of it. I don't know if I'm any good at any of it. And let me tell you this. I don't really care. People are reading. For me reading my work, people are listening to me, so that's the judge. But I don't need, oh yeah, I've won a Pulitzer, and I've won this award and that award, and I've got more awards, and you can shake a stick at. Just call me Ward. I don't need it. It's okay. They need that. They want you to understand, I went to the most prestigious school. I learned journalism at Princeton. And I studied under so-and-so. And he was a Pulitzer Prize winner. And he won the Nobel Peace Prize for blankety-blank and all that. And you know what? It doesn't amount to a hill of beans. None of it. Donald Trump just tells you the truth about people. All these people, they're going to run against him. He's going to tell you the truth. Bernie's a sellout. Bernie had a chance. He blew it. He wanted to crooked Hillary. Give me your person. Kamala Harris, dumbest person on the planet. Another dummy. I'd like to see her take an IQ test. And whatever. He's going to destroy all of them. And worse than that, forget what they would call personal attacks. Those aren't personal attacks. Those are the truths about these people. But the facts are going to be that Donald Trump has done an amazing job. I was on Steve Hilton's show on Sunday arguing about North Korea. I'll talk about this chick. I forget her name. It's like she said, just call me Nomi. Nomi. I was like, but I don't want to know you. But I'll talk about that when we come back, just to kind of tell you a little bit how crazy the left is. Now, Kennedy went after her on the show, but I chose to take the high ground. Back in a bit, folks. Glad you're listening.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful four-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. We got a ton to talk about. Exploding packages, OJ back in the news, new taxes that are going to be very interesting. I mean, you're going to get a kick out of this one. We got the Pennsylvania elections, Donald Trump speaking of that. I loved it, by the way. Loved it. But I want to start this segment because it's going to be relatively short, talking about my little stint on Steve Hilton's show over the weekend on Sunday. I don't even know the name of this girl. She's a cute girl, look kind of Hispanic. She works for the Young Turks. Could have been Middle Eastern for all I know. And she was in a red dress, and I'd seen her. They picked her up at the hotel in a limo and took her, and I could see who the limo service was with. That's who Fox provides. And so I was like, are you looking for me? He says, no, and he named the person's name. And I think now that I think about it, she is Middle Eastern or something. But I didn't know her. And she came out in her little red dress, and they, you know, the guy goes, I can take you both. I said, nah, they've already sent a car for me. And boy, am I glad I didn't take that ride with them. And here's the reason. It was a brother that picked me up. He's 71 years old. And we're talking. And he goes, hey. As soon as he sees me, he's like, I recognize you. And he shakes my hand. I was like, oh, okay. So I get in the car. And I said, well, I get that quite. He goes, probably shocked you that somebody came up. And I was like, no, not really. I get it more often than you think. But, you know, I said, I'm curious as to where. I'm always curious what the answer is going to be. He goes, Fox, man, I see you on there all the time. I said, you're a Fox viewer. He said, yeah. And then it turns out he's that elusive conservative that's in L.A., in the L.A. area. That's him. It's a black dude, too. Who knew, right? Who knew? So we talked the entire time. It's about a 15-minute drive to the studio. And this dude is breaking it down. 71 years old. He says, Kevin, been out here since 1967. I have been a staunch conservative, you know, my entire life. He goes, I've seen this stuff going on. And he goes, it just rattles me to my core to look at how crazy black folks have become. And he goes, and living in California, it's even worse. He goes, no, man. He goes, I tell everybody that we are on the wrong path with leftism and Democrats. And so he says, they might as well just say what it is. Obama was a socialist. So get this. The driver they give me when I get back to town in where I live, he's a brother, and he's a black conservative. I'm telling you, we are out there in droves, folks. They know. There are people plugged in. Look, this is going to be a lot easier than you think, and Trump is making it super easy. Super easy. And by the way, the left are helping. They are helping. They're making his job and your job a lot easier. Anyway, so I get to the studio. This brother cannot wait for me to get out. We had a great conversation. I go inside, and it's Kennedy, me, and this lady named Nomi, and of course Steve Hilton. And the folks are just amazing. Beth, who sets it all up, this amazing crew. And so we do. One of the questions was around North Korea, and the idea that Donald Trump's going to have this meeting with Kim Jong-un. Now, I'll remind you, Barack Obama said years ago that he would meet with these rogue dictators, and people criticize him. And he said, you know, that, well, how are you going to get, you know, people to talk if you're never going to listen to them? And he's right about that. I think what people were criticizing was, until you really understand what the situation is, you can't just say, I'm going to talk to him. And so was Obama right to say, yeah, I'll talk to him. Under the right circumstances, I will. Trump has already built the right circumstances. He's gotten the world back in order. See, we're now exporting excellence again. America is back on top, viewed for what it is. You can talk about military all you want, but we are the number one economy in the world. The number one. We're the biggest and the baddest per capita. Now, I'm not going to get into the nuts and bolts of it, because there people would argue, well, Kevin, Japan's got a big, GDP for per capita, whatever. They're big, and we can include them if you want. South Korea's got a big per capita. And the beauty of that is they're both big-time trading partners with America, big-time partners with, our protection, part of NATO, the whole thing. So we have that. And then you've got China, that Donald Trump has gotten in order as well. So we're having this discussion, and this girl says, well, her argument is, we do need to have these conversations with North Korea. So she admits to that. And Steve gets her to admit it. But what she says is, but why does it have to be him? He's the wrong guy to do it. And I'm like, really? So the guy who gave us the best first-year presidency in history, probably, certainly in modern history, the guy who has given us, who has made our trade the biggest part of our masterpiece, and getting that in order, opening up trade markets, and has gotten done with foreign policy in a year what Barack Obama couldn't have done in 50 lifetimes. And you're concerned about him? See, and so here's what she does. She says he doesn't even read his foreign policy, for the things they give him from the foreign policy advisors. He doesn't even read that stuff, and he's just a wild man. And so when she finishes talking, because I wanted to be polite, I said, see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This leftist, number one, luckily we get her to admit that the meeting should take place. But then she says, no, it shouldn't be Donald Trump because he doesn't read anything. I go, like she knows. Tell me what she knows. I'm looking at the, Steve and Kennedy and the American people saying, this is a woman that just gave you a bunch of conjecture. She knows nothing about what Trump does. She doesn't know habit one. She doesn't have anybody close to the White House. She's got all these unnamed sources that know nothing about Donald Trump, and she sits here like she's an authority. Then she goes out and she makes the biggest mistake that the left have made in their entire career, is underestimating Donald Trump, a guy who's given us an amazing economy. And I went to naming what he's done with Chinese tariffs. We've got 183 new products we can sell to China. We've got Donald Trump saying we're going to work on the trade imbalance. We've got a guy who just said we're going to put a tariff on steel, and we have steel companies opening up plants that were scuttled, and so on and so forth, and they still say he's too stupid. He's too stupid to negotiate something that brought the guy to the table. And Kennedy kicks in and says, I think, well, I don't know if she said this on air, but she said it afterwards. She says, I think Kim Jong-un is scared of Donald Trump. And I said, I completely agree with you. He's scared of him because you have an economy, the Korean economy, that's maybe $25 to $30 billion. And I talked about this the other day. It's a rounding error in America's economy. And Donald Trump has put the squeeze on him with sanctions, but more importantly, he's squeezing Russia and he's squeezing China. And he's doing it brilliantly. And they say he's too stupid. He's too stupid to do something, oh, by the way, that Barack Obama couldn't do, that Hillary Clinton nor John Kerry could do, but he's the stupid one. See, that's how leftism works. They have nothing they can lay their hands on and go, well, Barack Obama was amazing at this. No, because he wasn't. He couldn't get Kim Jong-un to the table. His policies essentially emboldened Kim Jong-un to do what he's been doing. So what could she say? She had to just sit there and take it because she knew I was right. She had no knowledge of what Trump does, and that she wants to come off like an expert.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here, KJRadio.com. We've got a lot to discuss, and we're going to get into. Look, there's I don't want to call it nuisance news, but it is, and there's a lot of lessons to be learned from it, like these exploding packages in Austin. They're saying that they may be targeting blacks, so it would be a hate crime. I've never heard of anybody saying if in the event of exploding, like let's say there's a pipe bomber and he's blowing up mailboxes, and they say we need to look for the root cause of it. But I've never seen one of these shows where 3 white people get killed and they go, we need to look into it as a hate crime. But black folks have been targeted, and immediately it's a hate crime. Look, I'm not, and I don't need to debate hate crime versus regular crime. To me, it's a specious argument. A crime is a crime. And if somebody's killing people with packages, they need to be brought to justice. And it's hate involved, whether it's white people, black people, or anybody else. This idea of hate crime is just crazy to me. But here we are talking about it. Actually, I wasn't even going to cover it now, but we might as well since I'm on the subject. What it tells me when I see people being killed and somebody being tricky about how they do it is I see cowardice and I see leftist. That's what I see. The Unabomber. Oh, the government, whatever, so I'm going to go kill a bunch of people that I didn't like. That's just cowardice and leftist. I'm going to see how long I can get away with it. I'm smarter than you. I'm smarter than law enforcement. You'll never catch me. And I'm going to kill people because I'm mad at the government and somebody that, wronged me in my past. As opposed to just picking up the phone and saying, look, man, you made me mad. I don't like it. Let's get over it. Okay, let's hug it out. Nope. City of Austin is chock full of leftists. And what we're witnessing with these packages exploding is nothing but pure leftism. According to an Austin, Texas police report, a teenage boy died after a suspicious package exploded in his home on Monday. A woman in her late 40s was also injured, was taken to the hospital for potentially life-threatening injuries. This is the second deadly explosion of a package in Austin this month. The first incident was earlier in the month, and it killed a 39-year-old man, and the police are investigating the possibility of the two instances being linked. This is a report I'm reading. There are similarities that we cannot rule out, and that these two incidents are, in fact, related. According to the police report, neither package was delivered by the Postal Service, so it wasn't a mean-spirited postal person, but were left there overnight and opened early in the morning, and police have reclassified the first incident from suspicious to a homicide. They're also not ruling out the possibility of the explosions being hate crimes due to the fact that both victims were African American, aka black. End of report. Then it was the next story that I read that said there's been a third bombing. I'm sure you guys saw the story. At the time that I saw it, they just said there's another package that exploded, but I believe it did, and they're just unsure at this point. I looked at the map, and it's going right up the 35 corridor there in Austin. So look, now there's a warning: don't take any packages or whatever. And what do people expect to get out of this? I have no idea. What could you possibly be doing, building bombs that could go off and kill people indiscriminately? I mean, that's just cowardice. That's the only way to look at it. It's just cowardice. Oh man, how bad is that? Hey, and OJ's back in the news, right? The consensus is in. OJ did it. I just saw a piece of it. I'll be honest with you, I don't have a whole lot of interest in OJ. He served the time for whatever he's supposed to do, and he's out. And I think the Goldman family's still hounding him for when he makes money. He's still got to pay them for something. So I don't have a whole lot of interest in it. But here's the thing. Black folks are now starting to admit, okay, I think OJ did it. Now, I didn't watch the show, so I'm going to have to take people's word for it. But he supposedly gave a hypothetical as to how he did it. Do you guys know anything about how this was done? I didn't hear anything. But this is what I was told. He did a hypothetical. If I'm wrong, let me know. Google it while I'm doing this. But supposedly, it was a hypothetical of, if I would have killed them, this is what I would have done. Now, the other thing I've heard is that no, he's admitting that he had a blackout and he wasn't sure. He was there with a knife and all this. But whatever came out of it, this little bit that I've seen subsequent to that, black folks are going, he did it. OJ did it. Now, at the time of that verdict, to take you back, take you back, OJ, when they freed that man, that was one of the most polarizing incidents in America at the time. It was really interesting to watch. Between us girls, I was happy OJ got off, not because of a black issue, but because I felt like they hadn't proved that he did it. Now, people, Kevin, you know he did it. That maybe. My opinion or feeling about it Has nothing to do with it. Now, people are like, well, who else would have done it? Who else? Well, like, I would know. I don't know who Nicole Simpson made mad or Ron, what's his name? I forget the guy's name, Goldman. I don't know who he was following around. I mean, I knew nothing about it. Well, how are you going to ask me? What do I think? My opinion is worthless in the scheme of things. But here's what I knew. They had not beyond a reasonable doubt proved it was OJ. There was DNA that was close to his, but it wasn't his and all this. And so that implicated his kid. And people, well, come on now, that was close enough. Again, give me an exact match and I go, oh, his DNA's on scene? Okay, it's OJ. Now, I will tell you this, that certainly made me take pause because it was a close DNA match. Now, I don't know whether the DNA things have changed and they could now make it an exact match. You know how things are. But at the time, it wasn't definitive. They have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. And OJ was like, look, I just came back from so-and-so, and they were looking at his knuckles, which had a couple of scars on them. But again, I get scarred. I would hate to think if something came up and I was like, you had a scarred knuckle, and they go, oh, he scarred his knuckles. I'm a fighter. I scar my knuckles all the time. So it was just bizarre. So I was happy that OJ got off because I was like, I don't want any innocent person going to jail. I'd rather a guilty guy be out for a little while longer till you get a case against him. And they did. They managed to get OJ on a technicality when he went to get his memorabilia that he'd signed back. So no harm, no foul. Now he's out. As far as I'm concerned, he could tell the truth. At this point, I don't think if he did kill him, I don't think he would tell the truth because I think he'd look at it as, it's going to be a career. I don't know. Has his career already ended? I mean, some people still like OJ. They still see him as a star. I talked about it when he got out of prison before this latest thing. I said I would interview OJ. I would talk to OJ. Now, if he is a killer and he got away with it, there'd be a part of me that would still want to talk to him. I'd be like, well, why'd you do it? Well, what would get inside of you to make you want to kill your ex-wife, who you know is in other relationships? I mean, why? What clicked? Well, Kev, she was over there flirting with that young boy trying to be a cougar. And I don't know, man, something just flipped. Okay, give me a read. But other than just the curiosity as to why he did it, but I don't have any interest in the story. But man, people do. They do. But here's, so people are abandoning OJ. Now, why am I talking about it? Because I'm making a prediction. What's happened to OJ is going to happen to Obama. Obama didn't kill, directly kill anybody himself, but he killed America. He killed blacks' spirits in a strange way. OJ, when that verdict came out, black people were like, yeah. It was a big deal. He energized the black community. The justice that had so many times gone against black folks was now tipped in the favor of blacks. And some of them were like, I don't even care if he did it. He got off in a system that is oppressing black people, blah, blah, blah. The system run by leftists, of course. They didn't care. No distinction, but that is the key. And so Barack Obama got elected in a system that oppresses black people. Yeah, whoo, we got our champion. Oh, he did kill somebody? Ooh, okay. And with respect to Obama, it's the same thing. You understand the parallel? That's why this is such an interesting issue to me. It's because that same revelation is beginning to hit black people. They thought the dude was Superman. He could do no wrong. Everything he touched turned to gold. And now you get the revelation. No, he was actually pretty bad. He actually didn't help black people. In effect, he's a killer. He's a bad person. Oh, we got to rethink him. You know who's making him rethink him? Donald Trump. Donald Trump's performance. That's what's making him rethink Barack Obama. Black folks are going, look, we haven't had it so good. And get this. This is a big backfire for the left. He's a racist. Donald Trump is a racist. Black people don't believe this.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
I got to tell you, I love listening to leftists talk about the economy, trade, the value of the dollar, all these things that they had practically no interest in under Barack Obama. Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's a Kevin Jackson Radio Show, KJRadio.com, 844-551-8255. Tariffs are in the news because Donald Trump is raising the price of certain products, 25% on steel, 10% on aluminum. And in doing so, the steel market is coming back. U.S. Steel announces they're going to put 500 jobs back in the southern Illinois job, right across the river from St. Louis, but they're going to bring up the Madison plant. So already on an announcement, you're already seeing it. Now, they had done it before. They brought 200 jobs back earlier when Donald Trump became president. They reopened that plant to begin with. Now there's a total of 700. Thousands of jobs will ultimately be created. We posted an article on this whole thing. China used to have a fairly significant percentage, but like, say 10% of the steel that they produced in the world. Now they're almost 50%. That's the infrastructure that makes practically everything that you do in a country. And now China, exports 50%, a significant portion to America. And they cover it up. I talked about it the other day. I'm not going to go more into that because I want to focus on the tariffs. But what's interesting to me from the left's perspective is that they say Donald Trump is not smart enough to do this. And even when you get positive results, when you get other countries saying, you know what, we have to reconsider and we may need to lower the tariffs that we're charging for American products. And I'm thinking about cars right now because Elon Musk, who tweeted out something along the lines of, we get charged 25% to export our cars overseas. They get charged 2.5% to bring them into America. That's ridiculous. And he wants to sell a lot of Teslas. And he's going, if we were on par with trade, I'd be selling a crap load more Teslas. We'd be selling a lot more American cars overseas. I agree. I believe that. You ever go to Europe and see these little bitty cars, man? There are people that go, I want a freaking Ford F-150, or a Chevy Tundra. I don't know what these models are, but you know what I'm saying. So Donald Trump is going to these countries saying, we're going to adjust this. And here's what he tweeted out. He says, Secretary of State Wilbur Ross will be speaking with representatives of the EU, the European Union, about eliminating large tariffs and barriers they use against the United States, not fair to our farmers and manufacturers. Now, I'm going to tell you something, folks. This is so common sense. It's ridiculous in its simplicity. And yet, the left are still fighting. This is nothing but common sense. What do you expect a president of a country to do when your industry's suffering and it's because of these unfair trade practices and the other countries are like, well, they never ask. That's just the way we do things. And Trump's like, well, it's not going to happen anymore. And the left fight him on it. Look, tariffs made up 95% of the United States government's revenue until 1913, and then they started taxing the heck out of American citizens, and they figured out we don't have to use tariffs in order to get our tax money. We'll just beat the crap out of the citizens. That's what it was. Go look it up. You don't have to trust me on these stats. We relied on tariffs in order to get our income. Now, should that have been the case? The answer is no. In order to have trade, you need to have a fair trade. And we shouldn't be relying on that. We should have a big amount of money that comes from our citizens, a big amount of money that comes from the corporate taxes, and some money that comes from tariffs. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Steelworkers International President Leo Gerard said Trump was able to see the steelworker agenda. What he did is what we've been fighting for over 30 years. What makes me sad is we've been trying to get the Democrats to do this for over 30 years. That's what the president of the Steelworkers International said. Now, I brought this up on a Steve Hilton show and said, what about the unions? Huh? Somebody come talk to me about the unions. And so this knucklehead leftist girl, Nomi, she says, oh, so it doesn't matter. Those salaries are going to be 30% less. And I was like, let's just say that you're true, but it's true. It's 70% less. 70% of something, 70% of a job that had gone away that your president, Barack Obama, said would not come back is now back. Give me that. And I'll take it every time. And so will the steel workers, the people who've lost their jobs. They've watched their jobs go offshore. This woman doesn't want to bring it back. Not to mention, I talked about the ingenuity that comes with learning something from manufacturing. And I used Intel as an example and said, look at the evolution of the Pentium chip and what it's now come with Intel. What we now do with microprocessors because our manufacturing stayed here. Because we have left that ingenuity here in the United States. And I could have gone on. And this lady's arguing, so here's the net of it. I don't even want to go redo the argument. You can watch the clip if you feel like it. The net of it is this. The jobs coming back to America and the fact that the unions, and by the way, I hope Janet's decision comes down and we can bust the unions, just for the record. But if the unions don't see that Donald Trump brought their jobs back that were gone, and they better no longer vote for the group that lost their jobs. If they don't learn from that, shame on them. President Leo Gerard of the Steelworkers International probably realizes this. He said that on Meet the Press, in case you want to know. He said Trump was able to see the steelworker agenda. Let me just correct him. Trump is able to see the worker agenda. 30 years, Leo Gerard says the Democrats have ignored what it takes to keep these jobs here. Now, if the people want to be part of a steelworkers union, I don't really care. I don't think the union's going to serve them, but if they want to be that, fine. I'm not anti-union in that respect. But I'll tell you this, if you don't have any jobs, you don't have a union. And if the union doesn't understand that in its membership, shame on them. Just so we're very clear, though, George Bush put tariffs on Chinese steel. Barack Obama put tariffs on Chinese steel. Hillary Clinton said she would put tariffs on Chinese steel. And yet, what happens when Donald Trump puts tariffs on Chinese steel? They act as if it's Armageddon. That's their word for everything. It'll be Armageddon. They don't want this man to do anything. If there's anybody that I would trust negotiating the tariff deals and our trade deals and understanding this stuff, it's Donald Trump. If there's anybody that's proven his ability to take the worst policies that and I keep coming back to this very simple term, folks. Common sense. Now the Democrats use it for their own. We need common sense gun control. We need common sense common sense tax policy. They use it all the time as a term, as a figure of speech, but they never use common sense. They never use it. They never even go back in history to look at what other people have done. They just respond. They react. It's emotional. Trump did it. But Obama did it. Yeah, but who cares? Trump did it. I'm so glad that Donald Trump has the chutzpah. I guess that's a Yiddish word, but he has the the male genitalia, to go out and do these things that people just talk about. They talk about, what was it? The building the wall, immigration policy. Nobody does a thing. You can go back and find clip after clip after clip of Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, all of them talking about, we can't allow people to come in our country unchecked. We gotta close these borders. And they do nothing. Tax policy. They do nothing. We need to lower the corporate tax rate. Corporate tax is too high. We'll track business back. And he does nothing. Barack Obama, if you listen to politicians, they all sounded Trumpian. Every one of them. They all said, that for the most part, they said the same things when it came to the economy, how they're going to boost the economy, etc. And then they become president and they do nothing. And the only thing I can tell you is if you probably follow the dollar, you'd understand it. Because people say this and then do this. Just say what you need people to hear and do nothing. It's going to be a popularity contest. And Trump says, I don't care about your popularity contest. Not at all. Oh, man. I could go on this topic, honestly, forever. But we got lots coming up. We're going to be talking about a new tax that's going to throw you. I want to talk about the Pennsylvania election and California. This latest story, yet again, it'll shock you.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
What's up, everybody? Hillary Clinton said this. She says Americans don't deserve to have Donald Trump as president. Welcome to the Kevin Jackson Show, KJRadio.com. Hillary Clinton needs to just shut her big fat mouth. Wow. And what's funny, you could take that a couple of ways. They don't deserve to have Donald Trump. He's too good. That's what they said about Barack Obama. Can you believe this? Chris Matthews actually said he may be too good for us. See if you can find that clip for us. Because people would think I'm kidding when I say that. They'll think I'm joking. Chris Matthews said Obama may be too good for America. But Hillary Clinton doesn't mean it as a compliment. She says, I would have to say, no, we did not deserve that. I'm reading this. It says the 2016 Democratic presidential nominee said with a laugh Saturday at an event in Mumbai, India, when asked by India Today editor Arun Puri about Trump and saying that countries deserve the governments they get. He ran the first reality TV campaign, and he was the first reality TV candidate, Clinton said of her one-time White House opponent. If you watch reality TV, you know what it means that the person who is the most outrageous, the person who says the most politically incorrect things, the person who's insulting and attacking drives big ratings. Hey, and the person who gets into the office and becomes a rock star? How about that, Hills? Hillary Clinton. See, this is where I come back to Donald Trump. One of the biggest mistakes he's made is he let Hillary off the hook. Now, he may be letting things play out or whatever else. Hillary Clinton should have her butt in prison. When I finish reading what she said about Trump here, you guys are going to agree with me. I mean, you probably already agree. Anyway, I'm glad you folks are here. Kevin Jackson Show is what you're listening to. 844-551-8255 if you want to chime in. Liz Mattery will be hosting again soon. You guys seem to like her. Liz is a great lady, and I'm happy that she's become part of our team of sorts. And I'm going to have her, and I want to bring on other guest hosts, people that I want you to get to know, people that can bring an interesting perspective to things that we probably, I think I do a pretty good job, but there are people out there with points of views that are just as good, sometimes better, rarely, but sometimes better than mine. And I want to introduce you to them. And hopefully you can support their efforts as well. Oh, man, I'm watching, I'm not vindicated. If I had beaten Hillary, I still would have I wouldn't have cut Hillary slack, and here's why. The American people, the public, needs to feel good about government again. And Hillary Clinton's a crook. Saucier, who just got pardoned by Donald Trump for what he did by taking a picture on a submarine, and he has to serve prison time, and Hillary's done far worse and done nothing. The American public need to see that we are willing to take care of that there's nobody above the law. Saucier did what he was supposed to do. He's a low-level grunt. Now, if you work on a nuclear sub, I'm going to tell you something. You got to be sharp. When I say he's a low-level grunt, I don't mean he's a bad guy. Everybody is important. Everybody's job, everybody's role is important. From the janitor of the hospital to the head surgeon of the hospital. As far as I'm concerned, they're equally important. The janitor doesn't do his job right. The surgeon probably doesn't have the success rate that he would need to have. So we're all important. And we need to feel that way. It's funny. We put so much emphasis in society on, oh, well, he's a doctor, or she's a lawyer, or, he's some big bad athlete or an actor or whatever. And we minimalize, we marginalize other things that are just as important. We don't make Americans feel like they're part of the system. There's the elites that, we all aspire to it. I was staying at the Beverly Wilshire in L.A. when I went out there last weekend. And there's two Lamborghinis parked right in front. And I mean, you got to understand, there were a host of beautiful cars, but you were just drawn to these Lamborghinis, particularly the latest one. Took a picture of it. And it belonged to the Prince of Qatar. His father is the King of Qatar. He flies in. The guy says, Kevin, those are two of his cars. He's got a Bugatti underneath. By the way, it was parked up on the morning that I left. It was parked up top. The Lamborghinis were down in the basement. And they had a Mercedes that was tricked out. It was stunning. The day before, when I came back in the evening, they had a Porsche. And it's funny. You're walking around this hotel where everybody's made of money. And you just get a sense of how entitled these people feel. So anyway, here's the point. The driver who drove me over to Fox, black dude, I talked about him earlier. When we were coming back, I said, hey, I want to get some food because it's too far I'm not going to eat at the hotel. It's just too expensive. And I said, but it's too far to walk. So I saw a restaurant. I said, hey, can you pull over there? I'm going to get something to eat. He said, sure. I got out of the car. I said, would you like something? No, it's okay. I said, no, look, it's my treat. Would you like something? He goes, well, yeah, if you don't mind, give me blankety blank. So I said, okay. Went in, got him the food. It took about 10 minutes. He waited, came back out, and he says, man, I appreciate that. He goes, a lot of people, they don't do that kind of thing, Kevin. And I said, what are you talking about? So he goes on to tell me about the people that he's picked up and how they just ignore him. He goes, Kevin, I'm invisible to these people. And I went, man, everybody's got a story. It's an interesting story, too. You've got something to impart on me. See, we've lost that. When I was a kid, I grew up, I wanted to go talk to older people because they would see something in me and go, boy, you remind me of when I was such and such. And they would tell you a story about themselves for you, and I would always get the message out of it, what they wanted me to learn from it. We've lost that. And what Trump should have done with Hillary Clinton is make sure that everybody in America know, whatever your story is, from the most menial job you may think you have to the President of the United States, I'm going to make sure you count. And when he let Saucier go, when he said to Saucier, I'm commuting your sentence, you've served your time, you're done, he said to the lowest level person, and I'm not saying Saucier is low level, but he said, I care about you. If he'd gotten Hillary, if we had her in our scopes right now, and I hope he does, he'd be saying, not only do I care about you, I'm going to show you that government is going to be fair. Now, I think Hillary gets her justice, and she's not going to like it. She can be over in Mumbai talking about whatever she wants, delaying the inevitable.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful 4-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
You can't always get what you want, but if you try sometimes, you get what you need. Oh, welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. I was thinking about what Hillary Clinton said. We talked about it last segment, but I didn't get to finish. Hillary Clinton says Americans don't deserve Donald Trump. Now, you would think that's a compliment. Oh, did we ever get that clip? You got that clip?
That anti-colonial attitude is funny. Based upon the rhetoric, you think the president was a radical lefty and not the center-left politician he actually is based on the record. But then, do people care on the right about reality? Keith Ellison is a Democratic congressman from Minnesota. Eugene Robinson is a columnist for the Washington Post. He's also, of course, an MSNBC political analyst. I want to start with Congressman Ellison. You've been victim yourself of some of this crapola. But this crazy Yahoo talk, do you think the people who push this stuff, this malarkey over and over again, the guy somehow... This guy's done everything right. He's raised his family right. He's fought his way all the way to the top of the Harvard Law Review. In a blind test, becomes head of the review, the top editor there. Everything he's done is clean as a whistle. He's never not only broken any law, he's never done anything wrong. He's the perfect father, the perfect husband, the perfect American. And all they do is trash the guy. And it's impossible for me to believe they would have said the same thing about a Walter Mondale or a Jimmy Carter or a Bill Clinton. There's an ethnic piece to this. It's very hard to nail it down because they always cover it in ideology. But I've never heard anybody in this country call its opponent regularly anti-American or non-American.
Chris Matthews saying Obama's perfect. Wow. But there was a clip where they said something about we didn't deserve him. I thought you could find that. I thought you were better. I thought you could find. He says we don't deserve Barack Obama. Something like that. I swear that's true. You gonna look again?
I shook hands with, hugged, and kissed
Kevin Jackson.
Going back to the idea of this administration, because, in second terms you get into trouble. You start promoting deputies to principal positions, and you're surrounded with staff people, therefore sycophants. And we all know how that works. You need people around you, a strong government led by a strong chief of staff that you can crack the whip. And this is why it's important to voters. When you go in that voting booth, you only get one vote. In fact, it's not a free will, it's a free choice. You get usually to choose between two candidates. You pick Romney, you pick Obama. When you pick Obama, you want to know that the steering wheel that you just turned to the left a little bit, you want that to matter. That means you want that president you voted for to run things. That's the only power you have as a citizen. Pick the person you want to run things, and then they run them. For anybody to run around in Washington and say, well, we don't run the IRS, or we can't control the Justice Department, and I'm recusing myself, and I'm recusing it. Everybody's saying the steering wheel doesn't control the car anymore. The voter out there says, wait a minute, I voted. I want the person I voted for to be in charge so I can vote against him or her next time. That's the only power I have. And you're telling me I don't have it because you don't have it. And that's going to really bug people, especially people that care about government doing a good job.
All right. Enough. You didn't find it. Anyway, what was interesting about that last one you found, which was, I'll give you some credit. It was Chris Matthews essentially saying that Barack Obama can run his Justice Department and all these different things any way he wants. And this is when Obama was embroiled in all the scandals, VA, IRS, Benghazi, etc. And he's essentially giving him the olive branch. He's saying, get out of jail free. I wonder if Chris Matthews feels the same about Donald Trump when it comes to any of that stuff. Just interesting to me. Anyway, I want to go back to what Hillary Clinton says. So she says, because we can't find, there's a clip of somebody saying that America doesn't deserve Barack Obama. He's too good for us. He transcends us. And it was Chris Matthews. I know it. I remember it. But Hillary Clinton wasn't being complimentary of Donald Trump when she says Americans don't deserve to have him as president. She says we did not deserve that. Maybe she's right in the sense that we didn't deserve it because we had screwed up so badly with Barack Obama that why would God give us another chance? We didn't deserve it. She didn't liken him to a reality TV guy who caused such a stir that, that's the reason why he won. He caused a stir. So now she's got a new excuse. Anyway, I want to continue on with this article. It says, reflecting on the second presidential debate in 2016 between her and Trump, in which the former real estate mogul could be seen looming behind her, Clinton said, he was stalking me. It was meant to unnerve me, of course, because he's a large man. Ooh. See, there goes that word. He's a large man. What if he'd been a large woman? She says, I think most voters want a president who keeps her cool, who's calm and composed, and doesn't get thrown off her game or upset or get angry or, heaven forbid, emotional. So I'm not going to respond. Clinton said she determined in that moment. If people were looking for a reality TV campaign, maybe I should have just given them more entertainment, she said. Oh, you gave us plenty. Think about everything Hillary Clinton gave us. DNC cheating, getting the notes, getting the questions in advance on a debate against a guy who she claims is stupid, right? Then cheating Bernie, running the DNC like it was her own personal organization, cheating Bernie. I mean, Hillary Clinton, and I'm going to tell you, was it reality TV when she almost passed out on the curb? Oh, my goodness. I still think about when those two Secret Service people tried to hold her up. That video is priceless. It did so well. This is back when Facebook would let you get stuff out. It did so well. It was crazy. It was one of my favorite videos. Anyway, here's what she says. I'm the mother who says, eat your spinach. You'll grow up strong. And somebody else is saying, eat all the fast foods and ice cream you can possibly stick in your mouth, Clinton exclaimed. And all of a sudden, I'm thinking, wait a minute. Maybe I'm running a campaign that is like the other campaigns I've ever been a part of, and he's doing something entirely different, which is a reality TV campaign. Now, Van Jones said that. He said that about her. But here's where it gets really interesting. She says it's fascinating and something I think will come to a democracy near you at some point. Clinton commented on Trump's relationship with Russian President Vladimir Putin, saying that for people to understand their relationship, they just have to, here it comes, follow the money. She was asked about the relationship. She says, Trump does have an affinity for dictators. He really likes their authoritarian posturing and behavior. Now, what's funny about all of this? Hillary Clinton has just exposed herself. She's telling you exactly what her issues are. She's explaining to you why she didn't get elected. Hillary Clinton, reality show joke. Oh, make no mistake about it. Politics became a reality show, no doubt. It's inevitable. We've changed the way we look at things now. That's part of the evolution of the process. But Hillary Clinton told off on herself. And now she wants people to believe that Donald Trump's the one that we need to follow the money on.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
What's up, everybody? Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. Tweets and signs. I want to cover some things that when I got back, I decided I love looking at the tweets. I just do. You folks are so creative. Why wouldn't I? Speaking of which, let's start with President Trump's tweet. It says, from Bush 1 to the present, our country has lost more than 55,000 factories, 6 million manufacturing jobs, and accumulated trade deficits of more than $12 trillion. This is last year we had a trade deficit of almost $800 billion. Now, I don't know if that number's correct. I've seen 570. But the other numbers are staggering. Lost more than 55,000 factories, 6 million manufacturing jobs, and trade deficits of $12 trillion. That's just from the time of Bush 1. That's amazing. Staggering statistics. Should be scary to most people. And what's funny, the left, instead of focusing on the idea of Donald Trump bringing all this back, the big news for them is a porn star that Donald Trump may or may not have slept with, that I'll tell you something I don't care about. I'll tell you the majority of Americans don't care about. The majority of the evangelical Americans don't even care about it. And it's not because we don't see it as a potential sin or whatever. That's not what Donald Trump was elected for. See, they want us to fall into that trap of, oh my goodness, look at there, those sanctimonious. Oh, wait a minute. Nope. We're no longer those sanctimonious conservatives, Bible thumping. I don't know about you guys, but over the weekend, all I did was have Bible studies at the Beverly Wilshire when I was, there to do my Fox hit. When the limo driver drove up, I had my Bible with me. Now, look, I'm not mocking those people that do. In fact, I admire them. I watched the guy one time at the airport, and he was not only reading the Bible, he was highlighting and studying. And you could tell he wasn't in theology class. He was just wanting a better understanding. I admired him. Now, there are leftists, they would mock him. They would be, look at that guy. Look at what he's doing. And what was funny, he wasn't looking up to see who was paying attention or whatever else. He was absorbed. I think it's great. By the way, I'm going to do a quick shout out. If you get a chance to get what's called a learning Bible, it'll be fascinating to you. It tells you why the books are written the way they are, who wrote them, and why. It gives you the history. It's like learning history in school, which is the way you get taught the Bible in church, versus learning it on TV through the History Channel. It's just so eye-opening and interactive. I would love to see a Bible that was interactive, maybe there's one that exists already on the internet, and it would take you to the places and show you the actual locations and things like that. How would that be for a study guide? Talk about beautiful history, man. My brother's got a PhD in theology, and every time we talk, I swear I'm just like, just mesmerized at what he knows about the Bible and how you apply it to today. Anyway, another tweet. Stonewall Jackson, he said this: I have an uncle who's a big liberal, hated Trump since the beginning. I just talked to him and he blew my mind. He said that he was so impressed with Trump with the economy and North Korea and says that Trump is the most brilliant person he's ever seen and he might vote for him in 2020. Now, what's so telling about that is that after the guy makes his transition, he still says he might vote for him in 2020. He probably will. But here's what I want to tell you about it. We're talking about a liberal who hated Trump, who says to the person who's a pro-Trump guy, I know Stonewall, the guy I'm talking about, that's his Twitter handle. He says to a pro-Trump guy, I have to admit to you, I like this guy. I like him enough to consider. Now, we're talking about somebody that's probably pinging over to far left. He may not be Antifa, BLM left, but he's a big-time lefty, and now he's right of center. You consider how many people feel that way as we contemplate 2018 November. Yeah, bring it, lefties. I was on TV the other day. I said, I don't care what anybody tells you, folks. I don't care how much media you hear about it. I don't care what polls they give you. You can disregard. This year in November will be a bloodbath for the left. Not only are they not going to gain any seats in the House, they're going to lose some. And they're also going to get their butts kicked in the Senate. They're going to lose like you wouldn't believe. Don't believe them for a second. I don't care whatever one-offs that occur, it isn't going to happen. Well, we got Pennsylvania coming up. We'll get the results of that today. So let's see what happens there. What's the next one we got? Here's a Liver Lip Louie. He tweeted this. Trump can't win for losing. MSM, the mainstream media, criticizes him for talking tough to Rocket Man and now criticizing him for having a meeting with his tiny dancer. Obama hangs with Castro, gives billions to terrorists, lets guns go to the cartel, and they say Trump is mentally ill. Give me a break. Here's the good news about this. Here's the good news. I've been telling you guys this for ages. How many things can the left continue to complain about? Continue to try to drive a wedge between people. How many things can they complain about that ends up being completely nonsense? I mean, I just read a tweet earlier of a guy whose uncle, who is a hardcore leftist, who says, I'm swinging over. How many people do you think are noticing this, folks? Noticing that no matter what Donald Trump does, it's negative on their side. And they're going, look, I can go negative on certain things. You can get me to go negative that he's a racist or he doesn't like women or he's a womanizer, whatever. You can get me to go a little bit. But when you start telling me that, no, a meeting with the North Korean dictator, something Obama couldn't do, that's no good. And that guy wants the meeting. You can't tell me that the crumbs that I'm getting back in my check is something that, these elitist Democrats are calling crumbs, and you want me to feel bad that Donald Trump gave me money back in my check, that I'm going to get a bigger tax refund, and so on and so forth. People just finally go, okay, I get it. They're just liars. We don't have to say it anymore. We don't even have to be the bad guys. Think about that. We don't have to be. The Democrats have become so unhinged that even their own people are recognizing it. Do you know what they want to run on? They want to run on the idea of tax increases for the next year. That's what they want to run on. As millions of people tens of millions getting rebates in their check, getting money back in their checks, can pay a few more bills, can do a little bit more. And the Democrats are saying, nope, we're going to jack them up. Now, what they're going to do is they're going to promise, no, you people will get to keep yours. It's just these really big elites that we're going to go after. And Trump's going, for what? You're going to go after them so you can do more infrastructure? We're building infrastructure. What do you want to do? Kennedy brought up a big point. I don't know if she said it on air or not, but we were talking about the train. The train that they want to build in California. $77 billion. First section of it doesn't even connect to anything. And what's the speed it's going to achieve? They say it may run 20 mile an hour faster than existing infrastructure, existing trains, because It's got old infrastructure. In other words, nothing new under the sun. It isn't like the bullet train in Japan or the bullet trains in China, where these things are going, 200 plus mile an hour, and they're saving lots of time and they're commuting lots of people to these big cities. And it's open terrain, etc. Nope. They're not doing none of that. Just they boondoggle projects. I asked a guy who walked up to me at the airport the other day, and he goes, "Hey, Kevin," he's a white guy. Says, "Hey, man," he goes, he recognized me. He said, and I thought I'd met the only other conservative in California who was a black limo driver. Took me to the thing, but no, a white guy walks up to me at the airport and he says, "Hey, man, I recognize you, and I may be the only guy you'll meet here in California that's a conservative." And we talked, and I said, "Look, take politics out of the discussion. Tell me that you want to bring in, you want to protect the rights of a man who shot Catherine Steinle, who had been deported multiple times, and you as the governor of a state, I don't care what your political persuasion is, you want to protect that man over the rights of a woman who was killed by that illegal that came into this country. Explain that to me logically. Explain it to me logically." I asked this of many Californians, where you've got the highest state income taxes, the highest sales taxes, and you've got a governor who says it's okay to steal up to $950 and it's a misdemeanor. He says it's okay to contract HIV. Nobody cares. You can't say I'm trying to hurt you if I don't tell you I've got HIV and whatever else. And I could go on. He penalizes you for breathing air. Who does this? Give me one logical reason why you would continue to vote for a clown like that. I can't think of one.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Up Singapore as a model of justice. Singapore, a state where not only do they give death penalty to drug dealers, but they also whip people. He talked about with glee the roughness of ICE, the way that people were being dragged. He was using verbs that presidents shouldn't ever use when discussing justice. Yeah. So there was a dark side to this speech, and it was very painful, not only to hear people applaud it, but to hear people applaud when he jokingly talked about being president for life. Yeah. So I think that there's a side to this that is upsetting. Part of it was great performance, but part of it was upsetting. I think that what Democrats have to take from this, however, is that Donald Trump has changed the Republican Party. He attacked Ronald Reagan, probably with no consequences at all. He attacked Peggy Noonan, Ronald Reagan's muse.
He liked her, so she was nice.
But attacked it. Yeah. He has changed this party. Yeah. He's turning it into a protectionist party, and it's working. The Republican Party of today is not the Republican Party of Ronald Reagan, and the Democrats have to be very careful in how they fight the Republican Party. It's not one that they've met with before.
I love that clip. I love it, love it, love it. That was Neftali, and he was on MSNBC, and he says that Trump's speech was scary to him. It was scary. It had dark language. And one of the things that I focused on when he says is when the people applauded when Trump said about Xi being, president for life, and we should try that in America, and it knowing it was a joke, but it was scary to him. But here's what was most interesting about that clip. What was most interesting is he says Donald Trump talked about Reagan, and he said negative things about Reagan, which, look, I can tell you right now, Reagan's policy on immigration stunk. It stunk. And he ushered in massive spending, spending more than we bring in. And that was the year that we really put it on steroids. But that's about all you can say negative about Reagan. I mean, he was optimistic, etc. But if there's anybody who has a right to say Reagan didn't get it right, it's Donald Trump. And he's going, the Republicans allow him to say this. There's going to be no repercussion. They can't believe it. It would be like somebody saying something negative against Barack Obama and people going, well, yeah, you got to admit it. He's right about it. See, what Trump has been able to do is he's been able to say, look, let's be truthful here, folks. Reagan was amazing, but he did give us deficit spending, and his policy on immigration, it would have been right had he stopped it, but he didn't. I didn't hear what he said negative about Reagan. I don't even know. But I can tell you what the negativity for me on Reagan is. But the positivity of Reagan far outweighs the negativity. And the beautiful thing is that we can talk about it as conservatives and say we recognize it. I remember when people would tell me, well, Reagan's stance on immigration was much like the Democrats. And I went, yeah, and it was a mistake. He made a mistake. He legalized illegals and got nothing for it. That's not what Trump's going to do. But what I really liked is he says he's not like the Republicans of before. The Republican Party has changed. That is a good thing. The whole time I was in LA and doing media, because I was on Fox and Friends, I think, on Saturday, and then the Hilton show on Sunday, and then coming back, and I'm talking to, just looking at people and having conversations and things like this. And in my conversations, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, the Republican Party has indeed changed. It's changed for the better. What's keeping these leftists, and I talked to a few of them in California, what keeps them off kilter is they don't know what to do with Trump. They don't know how to deal with him. They don't. They're like, how do we deal with a guy who they believe lies? Because when Trump says, well, hey, we'll look into this, he's not promising something. He's just saying, I'll look into it, but if I don't like it, I'm not going to do it. But he doesn't finish it. And he jumps around a bit and he keeps them off kilter. And that's exactly what he said he would do. Not like the Republicans they know. Not like the Republicans they can predict. Not like the Republicans that they can put off kilter. They know if we go after you and put the media on you or whatever, you're going to fold like a cheap lawn chair. Those Republicans are gone. This new breed of Republican is, I don't know, it's like not to go all crazy on you, but it's that new strain of gonorrhea. Forget penicillin. They're going to hang around. They see us as a disease. They really do. What's even more funny is they see us as they see us as crazy. They're like, what do we do? They don't react. They're not running. They're not doing what we're used to them doing. What do we do? Oh my gosh. See, they have controlled us to such a degree that we're going. I mean, I love it. I think it's so cool that I can predict this. I know what we're going to do because we are the new breed. I think that I hate to say it this way because it'll sound like I'm bragging, but I'm part of the reason that this new Republican exists. I can't tell you guys, I've gotten tens of thousands of messages from you guys saying, Kevin, I saw you on TV, man. You made me feel good about being a Republican. And so I know you're getting bolstered, but they don't know how to handle you. You're no longer predictable. You're no longer, they can't count on you to turn tail and run, and they don't know what to do. Pennsylvania election. I was asked if I think the Republican will win. What's his name? Saccone. I'm reading this. AP. President Donald Trump told Western Pennsylvania voters Saturday night that his new tariffs were saving the steel industry and urged them to send a Republican to the House so he can keep delivering those kinds of results. And all the pundits are going, President Trump, it's a dangerous thing. He's putting it on the line, that he's going into PA. Let me tell you what President Trump did. Donald Trump Jr. went in, I think on Monday or something, and they're all shoring up. They're saying, look, this is an important race. We're not leaving it to chance. Republicans, get off your butts, get somebody there, make it a big deal. And because Donald Trump did that, it's going to have that extra factor, positive factor. It isn't going to motivate Democrats. It cracks me up that people believe that in steel country, in coal country, who's saving steel jobs? Donald Trump. Who saved coal jobs? Donald Trump. And they're concerned. They're saying, well, the Democrats could do this or that. Let me tell you something. That is so underestimating the people of Pennsylvania. It's ridiculous. The people of Pennsylvania are smarter than that. Trump came out and says, we need our Congressman Saccone, a tune-up for the GOP's efforts to maintain its control of Capitol Hill is what they wrote at the AP. Hitting peak campaign mode for himself, he revived many of his favorite 2016 riffs and even touted his planned 2020 slogan, Keep America Great. President warned, we can only do this if we elect people who are going to back our agenda. What was funny to me, they said, well, even Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell, they disagree with the president on tariffs. And I'm thinking to myself, what you're doing is you're selling the notion that President Trump knows exactly what he's doing. The fact that the Republicans disagree is exactly the ammo he needs. They disagreed on taxes, and look what happened. They disagree on tariffs. Already, U.S. Steel says, here's more jobs. Other steel companies are going to do the same. Manufacturing is responding to all of the disagreements that that the Republicans, they're interchangeable, had with President Trump. Who wins in the end when these disagreements occur? Anybody? Come on. I'm listening. By the way, 844-551-8255. Who wins in the end? Donald Trump. And I love what he said. The people of Pittsburgh cannot be conned by this guy, Lamb. This is the guy that's trying to be slick, this Lamb guy. I'm a Marine. I'm distancing myself from Nancy Pelosi. And by the way, I'm a Second Amendment guy. They wanted to drag those conservatives over to the Democrat Party. Good luck with that strategy. Might have worked if it was a Romney. Might have worked if it was, one of these other rhino candidates. It isn't going to work with Donald Trump. Either you vote for the agenda and you put a Republican in there or not. And let me tell you, there are going to be a lot of people hiding out. And we're going to get a lot more active in these campaigns. Certainly the Tea Party community will. We're going to get a lot more active. But nobody's fooled by these folks. The tactics of the left no longer work. And by the way, the right uses these tactics too. They act like they care about us, and they don't either.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. I talked earlier in the broadcast regarding North Korea and the fact that I'd gone on to talk about China being the critical cog in the wheel here in terms of this negotiation. So North Korea's got nothing to negotiate with. Their GDP is so small it's negligible in the world economy. It's practically zero. As far as developed countries, it's by far the worst. By far the worst. These people have the technology to develop nuclear weapons, but can't feed their people. People at the highest echelons are beginning to starve to death. They are not, it is a country in turmoil. No matter what the pictures show you, they are in bad shape, dire straits. And so, but I want to talk more about it because there was an article written by Larry Kelly of Town Hall, and he really showcases what I've been talking about for quite some time, that it's the American economy that is going to be used as Donald Trump's biggest weapon. Anybody listening to this program, I've been saying this from the moment Donald Trump came on the scene, particularly when he became the Republicans' candidate. I said, Donald Trump will be different because he's a businessman and he doesn't care. He's a non-warrior type. He knows what weapons there are in his arsenal. And I said to everybody, Donald Trump will see the American economy as his nuclear weapon. And that's exactly what he's done. But I want to read a clip from what Larry wrote because it explains this thing in such great detail into a level that I just tell you, it warms my heart to give this information to you. Donald Trump is brilliant in how he's taken foreign policy and he's just spinning it like a Harlem Globetrotter spins a basketball, man. It just never ends. It's just bloop, 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 bloop. It's easy as can be. And imagine, Barack Obama trying to spin a basketball in there. He gets one revolution and then it's off of his finger. That's essentially what you had under his policy. Donald Trump makes this look easy, but I want you to hear it from somebody else who noticed the same thing I noticed and is giving a little bit more detail around the what China is doing to North Korea and why this is so important. And I want to remind you, when I was on Steve Hilton's show, I said that Donald Trump, North Korea's got such a small economy, you can't punish them anymore. We've done everything we can with sanctions. And so the question is, are those sanctions working? Because the only thing that Kim Jong-un has left is to threaten to blow things up. China will never let a nuclear weapon get launched from North Korea. There is no freaking way. So we're negotiating with China. And I said this on the show. We're not negotiating with Kim Jong-un. He's been told, you get your little chubby butt in that meeting and start behaving. And he's being told this by the Chinese. So here's what Larry Kelly writes. Despite what seemed thawing of the crisis occasioned by the South Koreans hosting of the Winter Olympics, the Chinese now appear to be more aggressively cooperating with the U.S. in its operation dubbed Maximum Pressure, which, according to Vice President Pence and others, encompasses the most aggressive sanctions ever imposed on North Korea. Now, let me tell you what happened before. They found out that the North Koreans and the Chinese were mismarking their ships and trying to do trades of stuff in midstream and all that. And the U.S. contacted President Xi and said, look, you better get yourself together or we're going to penalize you in America. So the Chinese completely capitulated. Now, going on, the article says this. A cadre of brave Wall Street Journal reporters recently traveled to the far north of North Korea to a remote area which borders both China and Russia. They found that trade between North Korea and its largest trading partner and benefactor, China, has come to a near halt. Near the far North Korean city of Rason, at a checkpoint on the Chinese border, the intrepid crew of the Wall Street Journal reporters met a Chinese businessman going to check on his equipment stuck in his garment factory there. His factory closed in November after China began enforcing the UN ban on North Korean exports. His plant shut down and terminated the jobs of 200 North Koreans who formerly sent their half their paychecks to the government. The reporters found that there were more than a dozen garment factories like this that were shut down and found that thousands of North Koreans in the seafood industry whose factories were shuttered had lost their jobs. Now that's just the beginning of this. These are just clothes. These are basic clothes Chinese can make cheap, cheap, cheap. They were employing North Koreans to help, get those people to send money back to the government so they could continue to fund whatever it is that they're doing. They're not making a whole lot of money. It's a subsistence level existence at this point. And now China is taking it seriously and saying, okay, this is going to end. It's down at that level. We're not talking about, trucks and armaments and things like this. We're talking about the basics. Final point. They said they learned that Chinese border guards even stopped traders from allowing small personal allowances of personal cigarettes from leaving the North Korean prison state. Nothing, folks. They have tightened down the noose on the neck of the North Koreans. And if you want to know why the Kim Jong-un has said, I need to come to negotiate, Donald Trump didn't ask. Kim Jong-un is begging. And let me tell you, we've already had Secretary of State Tillerson and others, and somebody, I forget it, maybe it was Chief of Staff, say, we're not giving any concessions to them. We're going to sit down. We're going to hear what they have to say. And then Donald Trump's going to say, fine. If you meet these criteria and you do things by the book, we'll start to let the spigot off. But it isn't going to be, we're going to let the spigot off of you. It's going to be, we will allow China to deal with you. If you don't, you're doomed. Let me tell you, Kim Jong-un has to have the biggest fear in his life. I was watching that parade, and there was a general walking behind him with a sword and, goose stepping as Kim Jong-un was walking, just along the troops. And don't be surprised one of these days if a general, that guy doesn't take one of those knives and just go run it right in the back of Kim Jong-un in front of God and everybody if things don't improve in North Korea. This is huge, everybody. And this is foreign policy showing what can be done with it when you understand how to work with it. God, I look at how the left have just squandered everything that Trump is using, and it just makes so much sense. But, not in their hands because they're idiots.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful 4-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Don't be fooled, people. Government cannot save you. Government is never going to be there to take care of your sick child. It's not going to be there for graduation. It's not going to be there for an incarceration. It isn't going to be there for a wedding, when you buy your first home. None of it. It's not going to be there to teach your kid how to drive. Good, bad, or indifferent, government's not going to be there for you. Government hasn't helped one single black woman who's watched her son has been told by the police that her son was killed on the streets, probably by somebody if it was a black woman of the same color, and government said nothing. Government is the reason why that kid got killed, but they'll say nothing about it. Government isn't going to be there when your kid drops out of school and catches a case and ends up in prison, and you're the one looking at him between that plexiglass. Government's not there. Government is not there for you at all. Government doesn't protect you. Government acts as if it's going to be there to stop that criminal from breaking into your house, or, carjacking you, or raping your daughter, or whatever. Government's not there for any of it. You better get yourself used to the idea that if you're going to if there's going to be protection for you and your family, it's going to be through you. And if you're a woman, find yourself a good man who wants to protect you, whose instinct is to protect you. I wanted to say who instinctively wants to protect you. That's what conservative men are about. Government government sees you as a tool. You're a pawn to be used at their whim for whatever destructive means they need at the time. That's all it is. Get that through your head. It's sad to say we understand the necessary evil of government, but don't get it twisted. They are not in it for you. Not the one we have now. The one we want is in it for us, who says, I'm going to limit myself from you. I'm going to make sure you understand when I'm needed. I'm going to be there, and I expect you to respect me. But when I'm not needed, I'm going to be out of your way. I'm going to let you do your thing. They don't make you safe. Government doesn't give you any security or any comfort. You can't even say that the government we currently have right now is going to help you against terrorism, against the migrant hordes that are coming into this country daily. Now, thankfully, it's being reduced, but they're still coming in. It's not protecting you. It's not protecting your money. Government doesn't care. It spends your money. Your money is their money, not the other way around. And when Donald Trump gives it back to you, they're mad at him. That should tell you all you need to know. The people who've been running this government, this thing that we call government, is a bunch of leftists, the Pelosi's and Schumers, but it's the Adam Schiffs of the world, one of the worst politicians ever, and others. Kamala Harris. She recently said that California is the future of America. That's what she said. California is the future of America. Is that the future you want? The future of California? I was in California. One of my buddies picked me up. We're riding down the street at a church on the outside. There were, no exaggeration, there were 8 people sleeping on the porch, the patio of that church. We turned the corner. There were others setting up encampments. They just got rid of an encampment in California. The human waste of it is ridiculous. Here's an article from the OC Register. Orange County Public Works released eye-popping figures on March the 8th on the total amount of debris, needles, and hazardous waste removed when crews cleaned up an area along the Santa Ana River Trail, once populated by encampments of homeless people. Here's what was collected between January 22nd and March 3rd for more than a 2-mile stretch of a bike trail, roughly from I-5 in Orange to Ball Road in Anaheim. 404 tons of debris. 13,950 needles. That's they said, approximate number based on what disposal containers hold. 5,279 pounds of hazardous waste, human waste, propane, pesticides, and other materials. They had photographs of it before and after. And all I can say is Californians have to be very happy at the new outcome of what's there. But what did it cost them? I don't know. I don't have a number. If you're looking at me, I don't have a number. More than 700 people living in encampments when they dismantled them in late February. Most of the people now are being housed in temporary local motels, which is costing the taxpayers money. And they say outreach workers are assessing their needs for services and housing. The bike trail cleanup is the beginning of an environmental remediation effort that was expected to include the removal of 2 to 3 inches of soil in the project area and tree trimming. Planned improvements on the bike included sealing cracks and blah, blah, blah. But that's what we have. And that's what Kamala Harris says. Hey, we want to give you more of this great California. Yeah. 10% of the state is on food stamps. 1 million unemployed people. $400 billion in debt. 75% increase in homelessness. Hepatitis outbreaks. Highest tax rate, state tax rate in the country. Highest sales tax rate in the country. Highest gasoline taxes in the country. Highest corporate tax, you name it, and still can't pay its bills. How pathetic is that? But Kamala Harris says that needs to be the future of America. I can't wait for her to run for president. Why doesn't she run with Oprah and they just put themselves on the ticket? Meet 2 black women. Well, Kamala's half black. Yeah. That's the policy of leftism that wants you to believe in the future. A future, man, you want to see some crazy laws, just look at California, seriously. I call him, one of my buddies actually calls him this, and I picked it up, but my buddy's name is David. I call Jerry Brown Jerry Clown. He's a clown. But the people that vote for Jerry Brown are the same people that will tell you Trump is being played in accepting a meeting with the North Koreans on a nuclear deal. He's being played. These are the very same people that have allowed North Korea to have a nuke program for 20 years that want you to believe that Donald Trump is the one being played. Yeah, well, let me guess. Was George Bush being played? Was Barack Obama being played? Was Bill Clinton being played? Because Donald Trump said, this is what I'm going to do. And I just talked about it. I'm not going to rehash it. But Donald Trump has got the best strategy for dealing with North Korea of anybody. And where it started has nothing to do with North Korea. It has to do with China. And the reason why you couldn't do anything with North Korea is because these guys never asked who was in charge. There's a movie scene where the guy they rolls up on a scene where they're hassling a white guy, and there's 4 gangbangers, and one guy's doing all the talking. And I think it was Danny Glover. He goes up. He goes, so who am I talking to here? Am I talking to you? And he points out the guy who's really in charge. And the guy looked at him and goes, yeah, you're talking to me. Well, now we're talking to the right people.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Before I get into what I really want to talk about, I want to just say something about the Baltimore mayor spending $100,000 to bus kids to D.C. in order to talk about gun control and things like this. Because, of course, Baltimore's got to be flush with cash. The city that paid off Freddie Gray, his parents or family, almost $7 million for the death of Freddie Gray, the death that they created. But they spent $100,000 to send kids up to D.C. with gun control, with money that it has a better purpose. How many people in Baltimore are about to lose their homes that the government could theoretically help? Well, where could that money have gone? But that's not what I wanted to talk about. Before I even get into that, one of my friends tweeted, Stormy Daniels offers to pay back $130,000 for freedom to speak about Trump. Translation: someone offered the porn star a whole hell of a lot more money to speak about Trump. And that's likely the case. Larry Flint has said he would pay, a couple things. He said, I'll pay $1 million to anybody that would get dirt on a senator, and that he did get dirt on. Then he says, I'll pay $1 million for any congresswoman who wanted to pose nude in Hustler. I don't know if there's any of them you'd want to see. And then he said he'd pay $1 million to anybody that had dirt on Trump. And no takers. So apparently Stormy wants to trade in her $130,000 she got from whomever and now say, I can make this $1 million from Larry Flint. Smut King. Oh, well. It leads me into the next discussion of what I wanted to talk about, which is a new tax. And I've told you guys, I said the Democrats sit around thinking up ways to tax you. I'm telling you, it's innovative. They did a tennis shoe tax in Chicago. They said, we're going to build a new facility, and it's going to cost $2.1 million. How can we pay for it? And somebody goes, I don't know. Well, maybe we could, hey, how about a sneaker tax? That'd be a great name for it, but they called it the tennis shoe tax. And they said, we'll charge, I don't remember what it is, but like 50 cents per pair of shoes to pay for this facility. $2.1 million. And somebody asked, well, who buys tennis shoes? It's supposed to pay for a youth facility. Who buys tennis shoes? Youth. So the youth will be paying for their own facility, which I'm not saying I'm necessarily mad about. But here's what I can tell you. When they collect the money to pay the tax, and they've paid it to pay for the facility, and they've paid it off, they're going to keep the tax. And whatever they collect after that is going to go into somebody's slush fund. Somebody makes note of every project that ends and goes, hey, we got $2 million coming in now every year. Let's figure out what we want to do with this. That's how it works. So anyway, they think about taxes. When they raised the price of gasoline so high, people stopped driving as much. How will we get revenue? I don't know. Do we need to raise the taxes in gasoline more? So then they go, well, you know what? We've gotten rid of these gas guzzlers, and people's use of oil has gone down. So raising the taxes on that isn't going to help. But if we can get them to drive more, we'll do a drive tax. Like how far you've traveled. Forget the gas. I just want to know how far you've traveled in your car. And forget roll tolls and things like this. And ask yourself, who gets hurt? The poor people. I jokingly said in Florida, you can't be poor and be on a Florida road because they'll put you on a toll road in a second. You'll be panicked. Anyway, there is a new tax out there. Rhode Island residents will have to pay a $20 fee to access sexually explicit content online if a recently introduced bill passes the General Assembly this session. The bill was introduced by Senator Frank Ciccone, Democrat out of Providence, and Senator Hannah Gallo, Democrat out of Cranston. It would require internet providers to, quote, digitally block sexual content and patently offensive material. But consumers could deactivate the block for a fee of $20. Each quarter, the internet providers would give the money made from the deactivation fees to the state's general treasurer, who would forward the money to an attorney general to fund the operations of the Council on Human Trafficking. So this is an attempt to save people from human trafficking. You think the government would tell you 100% of the money, the proceeds that we raise are going to go into saving against human trafficking? If online distributors of sexual content do not comply with the filter, the Attorney General or consumer could file a suit of up to $500 for each piece of content reported but not blocked. So who's going to benefit here? First of all, who determines what is patently offensive material? Because that's what it is. Sexual content and patently offensive material. And then who came up with $500 as the price for each piece of content? I always wanted to know. I want to sit in a room and say, well, if you do that, the ticket alone is going to cost you $75. Why? Why 75? Why not 100? Why not 25? Well, Kevin, we're trying to deter people. Well, then make it 1,000. That's a pretty big deterrent. We've got to be reasonable here, Mr. Jackson. Yeah, well, reasonable for one man is maybe unreasonable for another. Why is it that it's arbitrary? It's the $20 block fee. It's arbitrary. Is that based on some study? Why not make it $19.95? That way it doesn't reach that magic 20, which people, I get a rebate back from my 20. I get a whole nickel. They do it at $19.95. Crazy? Another lame brain idea. And all it's going to do is force people to go get a URL in China or somewhere offshore and access it from that. Pretend that you don't live in whatever state, in this case, Idaho, and the rest is history. Yeah, it just cracks me up. What else we got? I don't know. I mean, it's a porn tax. My producer's telling me, mention porn tax. It's a porn tax. It's a tax on sexuality. Look, I couldn't even tell you. I don't even remember the last time I searched for porn on internet. And here's what I will tell you. It was to do research, truly. I know people are out there going, yeah, sure, Kevin. Sure it was, buddy. Yeah, okay. Yeah, just look, if I was looking for porn on the internet, I would tell you. I mean, for my own personal satisfaction. I would just go, yeah, so the other day I was out, I had nothing better to do, so I searched porn. But I don't care about it. So I know if I was looking up any porn, it would have been because I was doing a story on something. And the other thing I don't like about it is if you ever do search for anything that's pornographic, everything after that, all your ads are like, hey, want to hook up with Russian babes? Hey, want to hook up with Puerto Rican babes? Hey, want to hook up? Hey, here's this. Check out the girls here. Hey, there's a strip club near you. Turn here. It becomes so pervasive on your system that you can't even have your kids come looking over your head on your computer. They'll think you're a total horn dog, No, I'm not looking. I'll use somebody else's. I'll go to the library and look. You're not going to have that stuff popping up on my computer. A porn tax, folks. Come on. I know it doesn't seem like a big deal, but porn tax. This is what leftists spend their time on. They put the cafe standards for cars. They got more people killed because they said you got to meet the mileage restrictions of all these cars. So they, the car manufacturers said, well, we got to take some steel out. We got to go to composites, et cetera, et cetera. And it may hold the car together, but in a wreck, I want steel around me. Not saying I have it right now because I don't. I remember those big old cars. My uncles drove them. My grandfather drove a car like that. You felt safe. It was big. And it was probably a gas guzzler. Probably got 12 miles to the gallon. I don't know. Honestly, it didn't seem like we filled up any more than we do today. When they tell us we get 35 to 40 miles per gallon on these cars. But anyway, the notion, the arbitrariness of these bills that get introduced, these taxes that they want to charge, these supposed things that they want to fix that never get fixed, and suddenly you just got to charge for everything that you do. Why is it only for looking up porn? What if they go, no, we want this if you're looking up vacations, because who wants to take whoever can afford a vacation should have to pay a luxury tax to view vacations. Who are they to prohibit people from getting access to something that everybody else should be able to get access to or has access to, but because what's funny is it doesn't suit what they can put, would say for civilized society, they want to get rid of it. And I'm being serious when I ask the question, what else can they go for? What else do you like that they go, oh, we're going to charge you for that too?
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
I was thinking about kale the other day. It's the nastiest plant I've tasted that people try to convince me is food. It's like bad parsley. Welcome, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. Sometimes I think leftists just say, let's just try something to see if people will go for it. Kale or arugula. I mean, I've had arugula, but I couldn't tell you what it looks like. But I know this. It wasn't that good. I mean, next thing they'll tell you, that bark of trees is good. It's a replacement for bacon bits or something. They just try us all the time. I don't know if you guys have seen this story, but they have this thing called hay bale gardening. Hay bale gardening. So there are these. One of my friends grew tomatoes in open air. Like in something where you didn't need any dirt. And I thought, how do you do that? The plant absorbs nutrients from the soil. And so I asked him, I said, well, how'd it work out? How'd your tomatoes look? Because, the advertisement shows these big, beautiful, red, bold tomatoes that have no white in the center. In other words, it's all meat. So I see it, and I'd seen the advertisement and asked my buddy how'd it work out. He goes, it didn't work. No, it probably cost him $20. It was one of those as seen on TV. But how many people ordered it? It doesn't take that many people to go for something for somebody to make a ton of money, and then it's over. It's done. And I think that leftists thrive on that. They don't have to look in the rearview mirror. They don't care if it worked for you. If you get that spray stuff that will make you, the canoe float that they saw in half, and you go out in the water and you drown, shoot. Man, they made their money. They're not worried about you. Leftists are crazy. So here's a couple quick stories because we're going to be out of time here pretty soon. But Mother's Day, what will leftists do when you can no longer use Mother's Day or Father's Day or whatever? So I saw this story, and it said they've got Mother's Day cards that are gender neutral. You can't even recognize your mom. If you're a football player, somebody you win the championship in golf or some sport, Mom, I love you, Mom, or hi, Mom. You remember people used to do hi, Mom? You don't do hi, Mom. You don't do hi, Mom. You don't do hi, Dad. There's a company called Waitrose, and they're selling gender-neutral Mother's Day cards as retailers, quote, reduce their use of the M word to make today's celebration more, get this, transgender inclusive. We now have to disrespect our mothers because of the transgender. And let's just be clear. Let's be very clear. There is no such thing as a transgender. No man can be made into a woman, and no woman can be made into a man. Let's be clear. When I say that, I'm saying show me a woman who's made into a man who can then go father a child, or show me a man who's been made into a woman who can then go biologically mother a child. Bring one to life, and I will say transgenderism is real. Now, if you want to say somebody believes himself to be a man and wants to become what appears to be a woman, I'll give you that, and vice versa. But biologically speaking, no woman has ever been made into a man, nor has any man been made into a woman. It is really that simple. I know the LGBT community is going, well, what are you talking? No, I'm right. I am 100% right on this. Not 99, 100. Now, there's a supermarket chain that's selling the Happy You Day cards in its Mother's Day range, in which the word mother does not appear. Can you even say son of a motherless goat anymore to somebody? Waitrose said the move was aimed at broadening out who the cards can go to, whether it's grandmas or transgender mums. Traditional cards are still sold, they say. So what's interesting is the transgender have fought to become, if you're a man, you want to be a woman, you want people to recognize you as a woman and use the right pronoun, use all the right stuff. If you're a woman and you become a man, you want the same thing. And now they're saying, nope, you can't call me dad, you can't call me mom. You call me you, or, for Happy You Day, or I take mother or soon to be father off of any card. I don't want to recognize you as that. I just think that is so ridiculous. But that's the world we live in. If I were to want to become a woman, we're with a family or whatever else, I'd want them to say, hey, mother. I mean, I'd never do it, but I don't think I'd be a very pretty woman. Not that that's what's stopping me. No, that people out there going, what, Kevin, if you were going to be a pretty woman, then you'd do it? No. I may just show off once or twice and say, see, look how pretty I am if I was a woman, but that would be the end of it. I wouldn't do it routinely. It's not like I'd do it once a month or so. Maybe once every quarter. Just kidding. I'm all dude. It's that simple. And proudly so, by the way. Broadening who the cards can go to. Do these people realize the number of not cross-dressing. I don't care about any of it, but the number of transgender people in the world is so minutely small. What do you care? And if you were transgender, would you really want to get a card? Happy You Day. I don't want to speak for the transgender community, even though I am a double transgendered man. And I'm also a double lesbian. So I am part of the LLGBTT community, which to some people seems like I'm a stutterer. But I don't want to speak for them. In saying that, if I did transgender, I would want to be known for what I transgendered to, not as a you. Do you think about it? Black people, we don't like you people. Waitrose has been joined by other retailers, including Scribbler, whose Mother's Day offering include 2 mums are better than 1 card for same-sex couples, and Dad, thanks for being the most amazing mum card. Apparently this is kind of a British thing. Hello, mum, mumsy, popsy, dadsy. These changes come after calls by some trans activists to actually rename Mother's Day. They want to rename Mother's Day. Look, I'm mad. I'm not a mom. I'm a dad. But I'm still mad. Rename Mother's Day. Look at the number of the billions of mothers that have died. The billions of mothers that are still on this earth today. And over a sliver of people, we need to call it something different. Because if men become women and, whatever, if mothers then become fathers, oh, well, those days could still apply. But hey, don't go using logic on me, Kevin Jackson. This is just silly. This is leftism, unchecked, unfettered. It's time we check some leftism, punch it in the gut. You know what I'm saying? Poof! Take that, leftism. They have suggestions for Mother's Day. Probably Mother's and Father's Day. This goes along with that mankind thing. Except I'm actually surprised feminists will allow Mother's Day to go, except that feminists kind of hate mothers except when it applies to them. They hate your mother. Yeah. Anyway, they want to call it Guardian's Day. Can you believe that? Guardian's Day. Can you imagine calling your mom up and saying, hey, Guardian, Happy You Day? And this will recur. When it's Father's Day, it'll be, well, you can't say Father's Day anymore because these are the types of things that make you look at leftism and just see it for what it is. But hey, before you poo-poo on it, be happy. Be happy. Don't worry. Boop, 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 doop, 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 doop. Be happy. Be happy. Why should you be happy? Is that what you're asking? Are you questioning me? Are you questioning Kevin Jackson on the Kevin Jackson Show? That's why you're here. You better be happy because all these things showcase the stupidness of the left. That's why you want to, don't worry. Be happy. Be happy. Be happy. Do Where's my happy stuff? Man, I'm playing Be Happy. I'm singing it, and you haven't even found me the music. These producers. Yeah. Happy Guardians Day to your mom. Both your moms. And your dads. Oh, man. Rename Mother's Day. Rename Father's Day. Rename whatever. Give a new definition of marriage and all that.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.